all I have to say to Oakland fans, I heard for you, and I hope you get put out of your painful misery sooner than later. 'Cause your team was so hard to put a roster together for today. I mean, it was unbelievable. So, if you're watching this, my apologies because I honestly don't know if this is going to be the roster that you guys put together at the end on opening day. It's just so hard to say right now. Anyway, what is up, everybody, and welcome back to Dugout Talk roster breakdowns. I'm Steve, and we will be concluding our American League coverage with the AL West today. Now, I forgot to mention in my AL Central breakdown what the names on the roster in bold mean. It simply means that that's who I believe will be in the opening day lineup, the opening day starter, and who the closer will be to start the year. You may figure that out by now, but I just wanted to clarify that before I forgot, or maybe you didn't even notice it. Once again, I'm breaking down the potential 26-man rosters for each team and giving thoughts on strengths and weaknesses, followed by division predictions at the end. Hopefully, I'm not ready to break any equipment by the time I get to the 8th, so let's just jump right on into the video. Up first, we have the World Series champion Houston Astros. As much as everyone didn't want them to win it all last year, I gotta say congratulations because it looks like your fans can actually enjoy this one scandal-free this time. The Astros won 106 games last season and cruised through the playoffs to get to the World Series, beating the Phillies in 6 hard-fought games and throwing a World Series no-hitter on top of that in Game 4. Looking at the Astros early, this team looks poised to dominate again in the division. The lineup hasn't really changed. They still have Altuve, Alvarez, Pena, and Bregman in the middle of the order. Heck, add Tucker in there for bonus points. They added Jose Abreu as well to man first base, and honestly, this lineup is still the best in the West until someone says otherwise. The scary part is they have prospects who are studs too that are going to be coming up, like Corey Lee and Yainer Diaz. Pitching wise, they did lose Justin Verlander to the Mets, but this rotation's fine. It may be their weakest link, quote unquote, but again, it's still top notch rotation that will probably be upgraded during the season anyway. As for the bullpen, it hasn't changed from last year. I'm not sure about Ryan Presley being the closer all year long. I think we could see Hector Neris or even Brian Abreu locking down closing duties at some point in the year. But for now, Presley is the clear favorite. And hey, I mean, as long as he keeps locking that down, there's no reason to really change what's not broke, correct? Summary, Houston's just as good as they were last year. I don't think they're going to run away with the West solely because of how competitive the division is and because I believe in World Series hangovers, but they're still the best team in the division, so good luck. Up next, we have the Seattle Mariners, who finally made it to the playoffs last season for the first time in 22 years. What a year was for them last year. Yeah, they got swept in the division series to the Astros, but man, those were three hard fought games. It was just heartbreaking to see that. Offensively, they did upgrade the lineup this year with additions to Teoscar Hernandez, AJ Pollock, and Colton Wong, but the lineup does have a lot of injury prone guys, Pollock being one of those. So they may have to bring guys up from Tacoma throughout the year. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but if the lineup has too many injuries, I think it could end up hurting them. Basically, I think injuries could just hurt the team in general if it becomes too much. As for pitching, I do think their rotation is better on paper than Houston's, and that's because they have some arms in the minors who can easily come in and fill voids as well, like Matt Brash and Emerson Hancock. To me, the fact that Marco Gonzalez is the five in this rotation speaks volumes. Sure, Robbie Ray can be prone to giving up long balls, but he's also a strikeout machine. And really, if you can get a guy who can strike out 8, 9, 10 batters an outing, and he might give up some runs here and there, you'll take that. You'll definitely take that, 100%. Bullpen wise, it really hasn't changed much from last year either. They did trade Eric Swanson for Hernandez, but they still have good depth here. And if one of the starters struggles in the rotation, they can call someone up and move a starter to the pen. I mean, they could be fine. I'm not too worried about it. Summary, I think the Mariners have what it takes to dethrone the Astros. But at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me if they ran into some playoff fatigue similar to the Astros World Series fatigue. For them, it's crucial they don't slip because the West is the most competitive division in baseball this year. Um, if they have one bad stretch, that could ultimately be their demise. So, as long as they play well, I think they have a chance. But if they start running into issues, I think it's going to hurt them more than if they were in another division. Up next, we have the Anaheim Angels. Yes, Anaheim, not Los Angeles. Maybe if the Angels went back to the name Anaheim, they would actually win games that matter. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Anyway, Looking at the offense, the Angels did add Gio Urshela, Brandon Drury, and Hunter Renfroe this offseason. And while they're solid upgrades, we'll have to wait and see how they play before we know for sure how it works or not. But at least Mike Trout has potent threats around him now. I would say this lineup has potential to be the best in the West, but it remains to be seen. It's just because the Angels have had some crummy luck with offseason additions. Rotation wise, I'm going to be real. I did not realize they had so many lefties in this rotation. This does scare me because realistically, all teams have to do is go right-handed heavy. I thought they would have added a right-handed pitcher this offseason, and they just didn't. I don't know why. Will Tyler Anderson repeat his success last year? Who knows? He killed it as a Dodger. This is the Angels, and it's a whole different ball game compared to how the Dodgers do pitching and how the Angels do pitching. Um, Otani is likely the ace of the staff. Good for him, honestly. He's in a contract year. He kills it on the mound and with the bat. He's going to be the highest paid player in baseball next year. So good for him. Bullpen wise, on paper it's good, but can they be good like actually on the field? I feel like this is the theme every year for them. They upgrade the bullpen with top guys from the season before, and then they go out and sputter and pitch like trash. So we'll see. I mean, this team has so much potential, but it's hard to know for sure. In summary, the Angels they just need about everything to go their way. If they're gonna make it back to the playoffs, even if to go over 500, if one area fails, it's going to be a long season once again. I do think they're better than 500, but that also gets said every year. It doesn't happen. So have everything go for you, you have a chance. Otherwise, similar to the Mariners, if you have one bad month, that could be your demise. Up next, we have the Texas Rangers, who finished fourth because the only team we haven't mentioned yet was much worse. But the Rangers have been busy the last two off seasons, adding upgrades all over the field, and they look poised to make noise this year. Offensively, if Marcus Simeon and Corey Seager break out, this lineup is going to score runs in bunches. It always seems to be a thing with the Rangers in general, too. But a top offense will help this team immensely. They also have some rookies in Josh Young and Sam Huff who are looking to be impact players for the club this year. In fact, I'm gonna say Josh Young is my favorite for Rookie of the Year right now for the American League. This guy looks to be a stud in the making. The Rangers on paper look really good. I think that is going to be what makes this division so fierce early on because, I mean, just look at this roster. It's absolutely insane. Yeah, they got some old guys in there, but these guys are still elite for what it's worth. Rotation wise, it's hard to pick between them and the Mariners as far as who's better. The Rangers rotation is a lot older with vets like DeGrom, Evaldi, and Perez. Age can be detrimental, but regardless, this is still a great rotation. They're probably going to go six man to start the year, I would imagine. The biggest question is can DeGrom stay healthy? He hardly pitched last season because of injuries, and he's already been used cautiously in camp because of an injury this year. So it's not starting great for him as of right now, but he is slated for opening day. There's nothing official saying he's out. So until it's officially said he's out, I still have him as the opening day guy. Bullpen wise, I think this is where they're weakest. I see some holes here, but at the same time, it could be clutch. Um, I'm not sold on it, but I think having a good rotation will at least kind of offset if the bullpen isn't that great. If the offense and pitching rotation can come through, a weaker bullpen, I don't think will necessarily kill their chances to make the playoffs. Um, but in summary, I think the Rangers are going to make noise in the West. They're going to put the Astros on notice. And again, I think the bullpen will be their make or break. It could be the difference in them winning the division or getting a wild card or just missing a wild card spot. If they do play well, they do have more than a chance. If it struggles, though, if the offense struggles, if the rotation struggles, they're no better than a third place team. Just saying. And lastly, we have the Oakland A's. They finished 16-102 last year, and they don't really look any better this year. I guess the one bright side is the prospects who are expected to play this year do look good, but it's the same narrative the team writes every 4 years. I mean, they kind of look like the Tigers. I'm just putting it out there. Offensively, I guess this team could score runs in bunches. Like, they're scrappy. It's the strongest part of the team to me, but how many of these guys are going to be on the team all season remains to be seen. I can't imagine that Jesus Aguilar, Jace Peterson, Aledmus Diaz, or even Seth Brown are going to be in Oakland by the midseason trade deadline. And there's nothing wrong with prospects being allowed to play, but honestly, why did they go out and acquire these guys? That's all I'm asking. Like, why did they go out and acquire these guys if they're just going to be traded by June. Rotation wise, it's young and unproven. Paul Blackburn was an all-star last year. He should be the ace. Shintaro Fujinami, he came over from Japan. He could be a stud in that rotation. Other than that, it's just it's gonna be a coin toss. See how they do. Kyle Moeller could be really good. Dalton Jeffries could be really good. James Caprillion could be really good. There's a lot of coulds in here, but not a lot of actual proven success. Bullpen wise, I think again, it has potential like the rest of the team, but compared to the rest of the division, it's an average bullpen at best. And if the starting pitching can't go deep in games, this pen will get taxed, and a taxed bullpen does not do any favors for anybody uh, come June or July or August. But in summary, the A's are really the worst in the West still. Sure, they could be a bit of a spoiler. Um, they're scrappy, don't get me wrong, but they're probably not going to win in Oakland again. And in all seriousness, I hope A's fans get put out of their misery soon because this just hurts to watch. Like this is absolutely criminal. And now let's give the predictions. Houston was an easy pick for first. I do expect a little bit of a World Series hangover, but this team knows how to win. By June, this team will be back to its ways of winning. I pretty much picture it similar to be how the Braves went last season. I will admit I am on the Rangers hype train this year solely because of the man managing the team and Bruce Bochy. Bochy had a very successful tenure in San Francisco. He won 3 World Series there in 5 years, 2010 to 2014. I think he is the guy to put the Rangers on the map and get them back to the World Series, if not win a World Series. I think the rotation and lineup are tops in the game. I expect them to be a wild card, even if the bullpen isn't that great. I just can't see the Rangers not playing better or playing at least good enough to be the sixth seed in the wild card race. The Mariners, I would love to see them win the West. I really would, and I think if there is a team other than the Astros to win the West, it's the Mariners. But I expect a bit of a playoff hangover to linger over them. It won't surprise me if they struggle down the stretch and underperform throughout the year, but it's okay. They don't. It's not like this is their only year to win. They're in a position to win for the next few years, even with the competition in the division right now. But again, I think that if there is a team that's going to dethrone the Astros this year, it is the Mariners. But to me, the Mariners are either going to dethrone the Astros or they're going to be middle of the pack. For the Angels, I only pick fourth because I have to see it to believe it that they're a team capable of making the playoffs. On paper, yes, they look great. We say that every year about them. Uh, I don't trust them one bit. They just haven't done anything in the Trout Otani era. I think they can finish above 500, but honestly, that's as far as I'm going with it. Until they show it otherwise, I just don't see it happening. Uh, Oakland fifth place. Do I really need to explain it? I will admit, originally I had them losing 100 games, but I think their scrappiness will at least get them above the 100 loss threshold. But I still think they're going to be the worst team in baseball. At least they'll get a shot at the number one pick. That's just really the only thing I got going for them right now. All right, and that'll do it for the AL West breakdown. We will move on to the National League tomorrow, starting in the East. We hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do like the content, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel, as well as follow us on our social media platforms that will be shown at the end of this video. While we haven't released podcast content as of yet, be on the lookout for future podcasts featuring me and Dugout Talk's other producer, Harvey. Those will be over on SoundCloud. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all in the next one.